G'day, I'm Paul Murray and welcome to a special edition of Paul Murray Live from the house that a lot of us pay for on a night where a lot of people are about to get whacked. The federal budget was supposed to be the attempt for Wayne Swan to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, save the government and potentially save the budget, but I can tell you at best this is a bunny of a budget. Now the hope is that this country is apparently going to have some sort of a balanced budget in the next 2 years. Well, there are a series of assumptions that are made in every federal budget, and the assumptions made in this federal budget are extraordinary. The number of programs that will be promised, that will be announced for the election, but there is not even 1 cent of in the planning until years like 2015, 16, 17. That's after the next election. These are the assumptions. This is where the politics will be played by the Prime Minister and Wayne Swan. They'll pretend they've got money in the bank to start paying for things, but frankly, they don't. The budget deficit is significant this year. It will be significant again next year. And if you believe those numbers, as I said, apparently the country will be a balanced budget. They're going to work things out between now and 2015 and 16. But I promised you that I would spend the afternoon having a look at the numbers and telling you the reality of the budget. Now, the assumptions that are made in the budget, particularly moving towards the balanced budget, is where I want to spend a bit of time of right at the start of the show. In one area in particular, you can see the magic numbers that are inside Wayne Swan's budget. There is an expectation in the next couple of years that there will be an almost $4 billion blowout in the dealing of offshore processing in this country. Our policy of putting people into detention centres in other countries, the failed deal with Malaysia, all of this is going to cost the best part of $4 billion. The total number of boat arrivals that are expected in the next little while, they expect this year it'll be 24,000. But then we get into the magic maths of the budget. Forgive me for having a look at notes here, but they believe that miraculously, in a couple of years' time, we'll go from 21,500 people that are arriving here by boat. Miraculously, it'll just fall to 13,000. Same policy, same government, but miraculously, they're going to be able to cut the numbers of people trying to arrive here illegally by boat. In terms of the amount of money being spent in the next couple of years, they expect that it'll go from, this is offshore processing alone, $2.1 billion this year. They expect $2.9 billion next year, and then as we move towards the mythical balancing of the books, apparently it's just going to drop suddenly to $1.7 billion. And the BS that is being run by Wayne Swan and the government that is saying that they are getting less money than they've ever got and there's problems coming in, the income coming into the government is a problem. Well, here are the numbers from the budget. The government put them together. The total revenue of the Australian government, imagine it's the corner store. In 2012-13, it is $359 billion. The year after, $387 billion. The next year, $411 billion. The numbers keep going up. In 15-16, the mythical balanced budget year, guess what? Even more tax is going to be raised, supposedly, by this government of $438 billion, and then the fingers crossed number in 2016-17 is $468 billion. Now, the government has done what they needed to do in some areas, and that's get rid of things like the baby bonus, but they have decided to make cuts that as the days roll on and the political analysis starts moving through to the real world, there is going to be some genuine pain. Perhaps the biggest of all is that there are thousands of people in Australia who may earn well over $70,000. You are the people who don't get a cent out of the carbon tax, a cent out of the family assistance package. You don't get anything when it comes to the family tax benefit, and also when it comes to the fistful of dollars with the back-to-school bonus, you don't get anything. So they've taken away one of the things that you may look forward to with your tax return every year. From now on, forget about the idea of being able to claim up to $2,000 every year in your tax return for out-of-pocket medical expenses. This is going to be the big one. Forget about the baby bonus. This is going to be the one that most likely will affect a huge number of Australian families.